It's showtime. Get over here!
If you thought Mortal Kombat 2021 was holding back, the sequel just made one thing very clear. This time, someone important is not walking out alive. Before we begin, would you please support me? Subscribing is free and very important to me. For better analysis and more videos, please subscribe and like. Warner Bros. Has officially dropped the brand new trailer for Mortal Kombat 2, and from the very first seconds, the tone is louder, bloodier, and far more confident. But here's what really grabbed my attention. This isn't just about bigger fights or more fatalities. This is about a power shift inside the franchise itself. And if you've been paying close attention to the marketing, you already know who's at the center of it. Karl Urban's Johnny Cage. Let's break this down. The 2021 Mortal Kombat reboot didn't continue the 90s film continuity. Instead, it reset the board. It introduced a new protagonist, Cole Young, played by Lewis Tan, positioning him as the emotional anchor of the franchise. A descendant of Scorpion, a reluctant fighter pulled into a war between realms. Critically, the film landed at 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not terrible, not elite, but the audience score told a different story, 85%. Fans showed up. Hardcore players embraced the brutal tone. Casual viewers enjoyed the R-rated chaos. On a $55 million budget, it earned $84.4 million worldwide and became a major streaming hit on HBO Max during the pandemic era. That's important context, because Mortal Kombat 2 is no longer launching into lockdown uncertainty. It's entering a theatrical landscape that's hungry for spectacle, and Warner Bros. Seems determined to go bigger. Simon McQuoid returns as director, but the most obvious change? The roster expansion. Karl Urban joins as Johnny Cage, Adeline Rudolph, Tati Gabrielle, and Martin Ford stepping into the monstrous presence of Shao Kahn. The trailer makes it crystal clear. Earthrealm's champions are now facing a direct outworld invasion. No more pre-tournament warm-up. This is war. Urban's Johnny Cage is introduced with swagger, sarcasm, and that familiar reluctant hero energy. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't believe any of it at first, but the stakes force him in. And let's be honest, Johnny Cage is one of the franchise's most iconic figures. His absence in the first film was felt. Now he's front and center. But here's where things get interesting. Where is Cole Young? If you watched the new trailer the way I did, you probably noticed something unsettling. He's barely there. And when I say barely, I mean blink and you'll miss it levels of presence. There's a quick training shot with Jox and Liu Kang, Johnny Cage and Sonya watching in the background. That's it. No major dialogue, no heroic framing, no character spotlight, not even a strong background presence in action sequences. For the supposed original lead of the reboot, that's not subtle, that's deliberate. And this isn't the first time fans have speculated about Cole's fate. For months, theories have circulated that Mortal Kombat 2 might pivot away from the original character and recenter the narrative around established game icons. The marketing only reinforces that idea. Johnny Cage dominates the footage. Shao Kahn looms as the primary threat. Classic catchphrases return. Yes, the trailer literally teases "finish him." Warner Bros. Is leaning hard into fan recognition, which raises a bold question. Is Cole Young being written out? Within the logic of the Mortal Kombat universe, sidelining him without explanation wouldn't make sense. Earthrealm is on the brink. Outworld forces are clashing directly. Every champion matters. So the only narrative explanation that truly fits the marketing silence is this: Cole dies, and not halfway through, possibly very early. Based on the footage we've seen, one plausible theory is that Cole sacrifices himself during a confrontation involving Shang Tsung and Lord Raiden. If he falls protecting Raiden or allowing other champions to escape, that would accomplish two things. It gives him a heroic exit, and it symbolically passes the torch to Johnny Cage as the franchise's central human perspective. From a storytelling standpoint, that's ruthless. But from a franchise strategy standpoint, it's clean. Urban brings serious momentum into this project. His portrayal of Billy Butcher in The Boys elevated him into mainstream pop culture dominance. He He carries gritty charisma, and in an R-rated action universe like Mortal Kombat, that energy fits perfectly. Warner Bros. Is clearly banking on that. The studio even adjusted the release window strategically. Mortal Kombat 2 hits theaters May 8, 2026. It avoids direct competition with major opening weekend juggernauts, and notably, it arrives 2 weeks before Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu. That positioning gives it breathing room before a potential box office giant enters the arena. Smart scheduling. If the marketing resonates with longtime fans and casual audiences alike, Mortal Kombat 2 could realistically become one of Summer 2006's breakout action hits, especially if the fatalities deliver. And let's talk about that for a second. The first film proved it wasn't afraid of gore. This trailer suggests they're dialing that up. Brutal finishers, bone-snapping choreography, arena-scale battles between Outworld and Earthrealm forces. Shao Kahn doesn't look like a side villain. He looks like an extinction-level threat. The scale feels elevated. But here's the thing that will determine whether this sequel truly succeeds. Character investment. The 2021 film had solid fight sequences, but some viewers felt disconnected from Cole. If Mortal Kombat 2 corrects that by either deepening his arc or giving him a meaningful sacrifice, the emotional weight increases. If it simply replaces him without narrative care, that could divide fans. And I want to hear your take on this. Do you think killing off Cole is the right move? Or does that undermine the entire reboot's foundation? Drop your perspective below, because this is one of those franchise decisions that could reshape everything moving forward. Let's also not ignore the returning cast. Jessica McNamee, Josh Lawson, Ludi Lin, Mehcad Brooks, Damon Harriman, Chin Han, Tadanobu Asano, Joe Taslim, Hiroyuki Sanada. That's a stacked ensemble with real martial arts credibility and cinematic presence. Joe Taslim and Hiroyuki Sanada alone bring legacy gravitas. If the sequel gives these characters more screen time, more defined arcs, and tighter tournament structure, it can address many of the criticisms of the first film. Commercially, the opportunity is there. The pandemic context limited the first film's theatrical upside. Now, with stronger brand recognition, broader fan familiarity, and a marketing campaign focused on beloved characters like Johnny Cage and Shao Kahn, Mortal Kombat 2 has a clearer path to box office growth. But none of that matters if the fights don't land. Based on the trailer, the choreography looks sharper, the color grading more vibrant, the stakes more apocalyptic. Earthrealm versus Outworld isn't teased. It's here, and if Cole truly falls early, that signals something important. No one is safe. That unpredictability could be exactly what this franchise needs. Mortal Kombat 2 arrives in theaters May 8, 2026. And if this trailer is telling the truth between the frames, we're about to witness a sequel that isn't afraid to cut deep. This is Screen Radar, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.